Hi there, Cynthia, creator of whatyouseekiswithin.com. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about gratitude. This is actually my second Facebook Live. My first one didn't work out so well. I had an issue with the camera. So we're going to try it again. Gratitude. Today we're going to talk about gratitude. So first of all, back in March of 2015, I bought this journal and it says, "Be happy," real big on it. Back then, I was having trouble finding happiness. I had two boys who had been diagnosed with ADHD recently, and in 2015, and things were difficult. I spent a lot of time on the phone with the vice principal, picking up my kid early from school because he had gotten in trouble, or spending a lot of time talking to my other son's teachers about how much he was talking in class and being disruptive. And so there really was a lot of struggle in our house going on at that time. And I was still trying to be the perfect parent, and I was still trying to have perfect children. And I didn't realize that that wasn't possible. So there was a lot of unhappiness on my part and on my children's parts going on at that time. And so I bought this journal because I wanted to be happy. So what I started doing was writing down 10 things that made me happy at the end of every day. So I would get in bed, ready to go to sleep for the night. And before I would go to bed, I would write in this journal 10 things that made me happy. And it could be 10 things that made me happy that day, or 10 things, things from the past that made me happy, just so that I could remind myself that happiness was possible and that there were actually still things in this world that made me happy. So that was a long time ago, back in 2015, and it's almost 3 years ago now, and we've come a long way since then. But towards the end of this year, in 2015, I sort of fell off doing this every night, and I really missed it. And so one of my resolutions in December of 2016 was to start this again, only this time I was going to try doing just gratitude. And so I got this journal for Christmas in 2016. And I have religiously written in this thing every morning since then, 10 things that I'm grateful for. And I mean, literally, I take this thing with me on vacation. So it's kind of beat up and it's got little tags everywhere. There's a little quote at the top from bunches of different people. I love this thing. But I've almost used it all up. I'm at the very, very end here. So I'm going to start using one of my own notebooks soon, which is one of the reasons I made this. This is my new notebook here that I created. And so I'm going to start using that just as soon as I'm done with this. But what I do is every morning I wake up 5:30 a.m. and first thing I do is sit up and I write in my gratitude journal 10 things that I'm grateful for that happened usually the previous day, something that happened the previous day. And they could be simple things like I'm grateful that my kids took the garbage out yesterday, or I'm grateful that my husband made me dinner. Simple things. But they're usually different things every day. I'm not grateful for the same things over and over and over again. And I'm not just grateful for my children. I'm grateful for something that they did, or something that happened within the day. So it occurred to me, though, that all this gratitude that I have is just sitting in this little book, and I never tell anybody about it. This is, my own personal little thing that I keep to myself. I don't read to people from this. I don't say, "Hey, you were in my gratitude journal today," even if it's a friend, So something that I started doing recently was I created this jar. And so it's, just an empty jar and a couple of little pieces of paper we've got in here from the week. So what I do is every time the kids do something that I'm really grateful for, I write it down on a piece of paper and I drop it in the jar. And it's really made a big difference for us because the kids never knew about what was in my book before. They never knew what I was really grateful for. And I guess I'm not really very good at telling them when I'm happy about something they do. I'm much better at telling them when I'm unhappy about something they do. And that's not really a great way to be, especially when you have kiddos that are spirited or like mine have ADHD, and they do get in trouble quite often, or have meltdowns quite often. So you definitely want to focus on the positive instead of the negative. And so that's what this jar has really done for us. I recently was listening to a podcast between Ari Whitten and Mark Waldman, and Mark Waldman was talking about studies that have been done that say you need 5 positive interactions to balance out 1 negative interaction. And I don't know about you guys, but other mindful moms out there with spirited kiddos probably can say that they had a very difficult time finding even 1 positive interaction in a day with their child. And I can totally relate, because 3 years ago I was definitely there. My children were very difficult, and there wasn't very much positivity happening in our house. But things are a lot different now. So this gratitude jar is a lot easier for me to do today than it would have been back then. However, if I had started that gratitude jar back then, I think that my kids would be in a better place than they are today. Right now, we are just getting back to rebuilding the trust and the relationship between myself and my children, because I'm a perfectionist. I was born that way. And, I expected too much of them to begin with. I expected them not to be children and to sit quietly and behave, and, all those things that people think are easy. Oh yeah, they just need more discipline. Well, my kids didn't just need more discipline. They needed understanding of what their situation actually was. When you have ADHD, there are definitely some complications and things that they can't necessarily do that other children can do. And so learning that was really important for me and for them. So this positive interaction that we've brought into the house has really made a big difference for them, because they're starting to see that, wow, mom really does think that we're great, or mom really does like that we're doing these things, and it's really good for them. And every once in a while, I leave this in my living room with the pens and pieces of paper right next to it, and so they can come and write their own gratitude. And so they do. They really enjoy it. They, write gratitudes to myself and my husband, and basically, at the end of every week, we sit down at the kitchen table at a time when, nobody's doing anything in particular, or it's after dinner or something like that. And we all just sit down and we read through them, and we let everybody read one, and then everybody gets to keep theirs if they want them. And it's a lot of fun. The boys really enjoy it, and they get excited to do it. So I'm glad that we've made this change recently, and that I can share my gratitude with them now, because before I was just keeping it all to myself, and that's not quite as helpful. So my kids need to know how much I love them, and that I'm grateful for the things that they do. So I hope that has inspired you to make a gratitude jar of your own, and to share with your kids what you love that they are doing right. Oh, almost forgot. What went right? That is a very amazing question that I just learned to ask from Erin Korselman, Honestly ADHD. I just went through a 7-day parenting challenge with her. You might have heard about it. And what went right was one of the great things that I got out of that. So, if you're having an issue with your kid, instead of calling them into the room saying, hey, what just happened? Tell me what went wrong. Instead, ask what went right. So in any given situation, although something may have gone wrong, it's important to focus on what went right first, because the kids need to understand that they are trying. They need you to see that they're trying. And so if they had an argument but they walked away instead of hitting their brother, that went right. That's a really great thing that just happened, and you would do yourself a lot of good if you focused on the what went right piece first. So that all ties in with the gratitude jar, because what I put in here is what went right. And so, sometimes it is a result of some issue that the 2 boys had, and hey, they didn't hit each other. And so sometimes I will put in there, I'm grateful that you guys didn't hit each other when you got into an argument, or, something like that. So it's a really good way to let them see what is going right, instead of always focusing on what's going wrong. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little spiel on gratitude today, and I will hopefully see you next Friday.